Despite being heavily criticized online by Question Time viewers, the BBC has since stepped in to defend its host, claiming no impartiality rules were breached. The backlash came after the panel discussed whether it was right for Boris Johnson to nominate his father, Stanley Johnson, for a knighthood. However, the conversation soon took an unexpected turn when panelist Yasmin Ali-Brown shared her thoughts. "Well, he did put his brother into the Lords," she began by pointing out. "He might be a wonderful person, but for me, his dad might be well qualified too, but he doesn't get a look in." She continued, "I'm not blaming Boris Johnson or Stanley Johnson, but actually, he was a wife-beater, Stanley Johnson on record." Fiona quickly put her hands in the air as she interrupted, "I'm not disputing what you're saying, but just so everyone knows what this is referring to, Stanley Johnson's wife spoke to a journalist, Tom Bauer, and she said that Stanley Johnson had broken her nose and that she'd ended up in hospital as a result." Stanley Johnson has not commented publicly on that. Friends of his have said it did happen, but it was a one-off. "But it did happen," Yasmin replied before they continued with the debate. The BBC has since released a statement to its official account, which read, "Following comments about an exchange referencing domestic abuse on Question Time, the BBC says domestic abuse is abhorrent, and we would never wish to suggest otherwise. When serious allegations are made on air against people or organizations, it is the job of BBC presenters to ensure that the context of those allegations, and any right of reply from the person or organization, is given to the audience, and this is what Fiona Bruce was doing last night. She was not expressing any personal opinion about the situation," they added. Despite the BBC's response, angry viewers have taken to social media in droves, with many calling for the presenter to be sacked over her comments. Don't miss: The Apprentice fans slam woke BBC for all-female final. Latest: Gary Lineker steps back from match of the day after tweet backlash. News: Bargain hunt expert shares disappointment over valuation. Insight: Twitter user @Julius101 fumed, "I'm still absolutely sickened that as of 3 p.m. today, Fiona Bruce is still in post both at the BBC and as a refuge ambassador." Sick, @Philip O'Connor 5 complained, "If the BBC thinks it has problems with Gary Lineker, maybe it should look at Fiona Bruce. Total disgrace as host of #BBCQT. Last night she excused Stanley Johnson breaking his wife's nose as a one-off." Sick, while @Design raged, quote of the day, "Stanley Johnson only broke his wife's nose once, it was a one-off." Fiona Bruce, @BBC Question Time chair. "Tried watching a bit of Question Time, but I'm afraid Fiona Bruce excusing Stanley Johnson's domestic violence as a one-off is an utter disgrace," official Peneth commented. "Will anybody be speaking to her, or is that just reserved for people who criticize the government? #BBCQT. @BoyCharioteer pointed out, "I hope that Fiona Bruce is going to get the Lineker treatment over her comments over Stanley Johnson breaking his wife's nose as a one-off." @Mrs_Coyle tweeted, "I'm presuming Fiona Bruce has never been a victim of domestic violence? I have, and this is appalling. Does the @BBC and @Question Time really think this is acceptable? Basically, implying that breaking a woman's nose is a minor issue? Gutter media. She should be sacked." Sick, Express. Co.uk has reached out to BBC for further comment.